Alrighty, we'll just get started here in a second. I'm just going to pull up my little presentation I have for us just to go through the introduction, and then we'll get right into the stretches. Sorry, I'm trying out a webcam, so if I'm looking all over the place, it's just because I got camera here, slides here. All right, so first, welcome back, everybody. We're going to be doing our webinar today on stretches for low back pain, and just these are great stretches that you can do in your office. You can do them really just anywhere. So they're super easy to do. They're great for anywhere, anytime. Alrighty, so why is stretching important? Stretching is real important because it helps us with our balance, which as we get older, balance is very key, and not hurting ourselves helps us with our strength, because if your muscles aren't loose and you're incorporating some kind of workout into your lifestyle, you can injure yourself that way. It's going to increase your range of motion, which again, it's just going to decrease the chance of you getting hurt. And finally, for stress relief, just because, you know, it's a very stressful time in this world. I'm sure everyone gets stressed in some way, shape, or form. And it's just great to, you know, take a minute sometimes, do a couple stretches, do some deep breathing, and get right back to it. And so as for today, we're going to be going over 10 stretches. A couple of them come in sets, but yeah, so about 10 stretches. It shouldn't take too long, maybe about 10 minutes of stretching. And one final thing, just to remember, I'll cover this again right before we wrap it up, but some general reminders for stretching. So we're going to try to hold all of these stretches for about 10 to 30 seconds each time. You don't want to hold them for too much longer, because at that point, you're just really not doing anything. You're just going to maybe tire yourself out. You want to do stretching if you can do it really as much as you want, but to see some serious results, you're going to want to do it 2 to 3 times a week, just so you can get a little more flexible, and it's just really going to help you out. But the more you can do it more, that's great. The more stretching, the better. But minimum 2 to 3 times a week is overall just a good rule of thumb. And it's great to incorporate stretching into any other kind of training regime you're doing. If it's like resistance or resistance training or aerobic training, so like long distance running, or if it's like lifting weights, it's great to incorporate that, because you are going to strengthen the tendons with stretching. So there's going to be a lot less chance of you injuring yourself. Alrighty, so without further ado, I'm going to take my handy dandy notebook here, and we are just going to get right into it. Perfect, okay. So our first stretch that we're going to do today is called the deltoid stretch. So this one's pretty straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to take your one arm, you're going to bring it across your chest, take the other arm, and you're going to kind of go under to support it. And I like to grab my shoulder just for that extra stability. And then you're going to do a little bit of a pull, not too much, until you feel the tension in your shoulder. And then you're just going to pull it across, and we're going to hold it for 10 to 30 seconds. So we'll do about a couple more seconds, just because I've already been holding it for a bit. But if you guys need to hold it for longer, that's okay. So we're just going to hold. We're going to switch arms. So again, across, support under about the elbow, grab the shoulder, and just pull a little bit. And you'll just feel that tug right inside your shoulder. So we're going to hold that again, 10 to 30 seconds. If you guys have any questions throughout the whole thing too, there is the Q&A function at the bottom, which I'll answer those at the end when we get a couple minutes. There's also a chat box too, which I'll see pop up if anybody has any questions there or comments. So we're just gonna keep going, and then about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stop. I'm gonna shake it out a little bit. That's always good to do. I just like to do the little shakes to keep the blood pumping. Next, we're gonna do the standing hip flexor stretch. So this one, it's very key. You're gonna wanna have both your feet flat on the ground. You don't want your back heel coming up, or else you won't feel this stretch. So you want something like a wall. I'm just going to be using this little thing here with all these toys on it. And you're going to do almost like a bit of a lunge. And you want your front knee to be bent and your back leg to be completely straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to do that, lean forward, We're gonna hold this for again, 10 to 30 seconds. And you wanna feel the tightness almost all the way down the back of your leg. And then don't do too deep of lunge though. You don't wanna hurt yourself. If you're feeling any kind of too much tension or pain, you wanna stop and you wanna lighten up the stretch by just standing up a bit straighter. But we're gonna hold this for 10 to 30 seconds. And then when we reach that time, we're gonna stand up a little straight, and then we're just gonna switch legs. Bend the front leg, back leg straight, toes pointed forward, and then we're just gonna lean into it until you feel that tightness, all pretty much the whole way down the straight leg. So again, we're gonna hold this for 10 to 30 seconds. If there are any questions, this one is the standing hip flexor stretch. So just so you guys know. So we're gonna keep holding this. And then we're gonna go back. Another key thing with stretches is if you are at that point of tension, you don't wanna bounce on that because that's a key way that people will hurt themselves stretching is bouncing on the tension. You just wanna slowly go, meet the tension, and then hold it for a couple seconds, and then slowly return. All right, so next we're gonna go through our neck range of motion. So this is kind of similar to what we did with our back stretches last week. So we're gonna tilt the head to one side. I'm gonna hold this for about 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, I like to say, just because this one, there is a lot, and we gotta counter every movement. So we're gonna hold this, and then we're gonna go to the other side, tilt, and you're gonna really feel the tightness in your neck here. So we're gonna keep holding it for 3, 2, 1, and then we're gonna look forward and down. We'll hold this one for about 10 seconds. We'll feel the stretch in the back of our neck. If we don't, that's okay because these are pretty commonly used muscles, so they should be pretty stretched out already. But if not, that's okay too. Then we're gonna look up, and then we're gonna look up and back. We're gonna stretch the front of our neck, hold for 5 to 10 seconds. Alrighty, and then we're gonna stand. We're gonna keep our shoulders facing forward, and we're just gonna turn our head one direction. And then we're gonna go back slowly, and then we're gonna slowly look the other direction. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds. At that point of tension right here. And then we're gonna look forward. And then the final thing is we're gonna start looking down, and we're just gonna kind of roll it out. So we're gonna look down, and we're gonna go one side, roll to the other side, roll to the other side, and just keep doing this a couple times, moving through the full circle. And then once you've done that a couple in each direction, we're good. And so that's a really key one because if you find your neck gets really stiff, you're gonna wanna go through that because that's all the movements that the neck can do, and it's great for stretching it out. I'm just gonna double check. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I'm not seeing any chats or any Q&As, so that's a good sign that you guys can hear me. I was a little worried my microphone would be acting up today. So our next one is the over-the-shoulder tricep stretch. So this one, you're gonna take one arm, you're gonna reach towards your back, like right between your shoulder blades almost. You're gonna take the other arm, grab your elbow, and just kind of put a bit of a pull on it until you feel the tension in the back of your arm on the tricep here. And again, we're gonna hold this for about 10 to 30 seconds. So we're just gonna hold it, hold it, hold it. Bring it down, shake out the arm a bit. And we're gonna use the other one. So over, to remember, hold the elbow, pull it back to the point of tension. If you're feeling too much tension, you can let off a little bit. It's just about light stretches. So we're gonna keep holding 10 to 30 seconds. And then we're gonna go down, shake it out a little bit. And next we're gonna work on the ankles. So I don't know about you guys, but sitting around all day, the first thing for me to get stiff is my ankles. Could be because I've injured them a bunch in the past. Probably has something to do with it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with one foot. You're gonna go on your toes. And then you're just gonna go for about, we'll say 15 seconds. You're gonna rotate your ankle one direction, clockwise or counterclockwise. So we're gonna do this for about 15 seconds, and then we're gonna go the other direction, and then we'll do the same thing with the other leg. And it's just about getting your ankle moving through that circular motion just so you can get the whole range of motion in there and make sure everything's getting stretched just a tiny bit. So that should be about 15 seconds. So we're going to switch directions here. I'll switch legs too early. So we're just going to keep going this way now. 10 to 15 seconds. And then that's good. And then we'll switch legs. Remember, if there are any questions, I will be answering them at the end, but you're welcome to put them in the chat box now or in the Q&A function now. So we'll just keep going. Again, it doesn't really matter if you start clockwise or counterclockwise. It just matters that you do both, because that way you're stretching out all the muscles equally. So we're going to start going the other direction now. Do that for about 10 more seconds. Alrighty, so that should be about good there. Next, we're gonna do the seated hip stretch. So I'm just gonna take a seat on my bench here. If you guys have a chair, I'm guessing that's what most of you are watching from, is a chair. So you can just sit there, and this one's really easy to do. You're gonna take your foot, you're gonna put it basically right on top of your knee, and you're just gonna have this leg kind of sit like this. You should feel a little bit of tension in your hip. And then if you need that extra bit of tension, you can just apply a little bit of pressure, not too much, because you can, if you apply too much, that's gonna hurt. And if you start to feel any pain or anything, just wanna stop right there, but you're just gonna apply a little bit of pressure. And again, 10 to 30 seconds. Say we've probably been going for about 15 now. So we'll just kind of gear up and switch. So we're gonna go back. And remember, you wanna always slowly go into the stretch and out of the stretch. Because if you're flailing all around, there's a good chance you're going to hurt yourself. So we're just going to do everything slowly, because that's the main thing about stretching, is it's injury avoidance. So we're just going to stretch, hold it for about 10 more seconds. All right, perfect. So this next one is called the standing quad stretch. This one, if you are not very comfortable with your balance, I suggest you probably don't do it. And then you can also use different things to help you out too. Like I'm gonna use this just for stability. So all you do is you bring up one leg, grab it, and you just kind of pull it back, and you'll feel the tension right in your quad. Again, if it gets too tight, don't keep pulling. It's gonna result in an injury, so you just hold it. And again, 10 to 30 seconds. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to switch legs. And again, you want it to be in the front half of the upper part of the leg. That's where we're really going to feel this tension. So we're going to hold this for about 7 more seconds. And this is a good one to shake out, because when we're doing a lot of sitting, these are some of the muscles that just don't get used too much. So it's really good to give them that extra strength through the stretching. So I'm gonna go down, shake it out a little bit. And then next we are going to do one of my favorites. I stole this one from yoga, I'm not gonna lie, but it's so great. It's a bit of a breathing exercise too. So I'm just gonna go here, because my bench was pretty wobbly yesterday. So what you do is you start out, you get on all fours, and this one's called the cat cow. So what you do, you start on all fours, and you're gonna breathe in and arch your back up. And you're gonna hold that for a couple seconds, and then you're gonna breathe out and arch your back down the other way. And you're gonna hold that for a couple seconds. And then we're gonna alternate between the two, and we're gonna do about 10 breaths in, 10 breaths out. So we've already done one, so we're gonna go 2, 3. And remember, you want to hold at the top for a couple seconds, and then slowly move your chest downwards for a couple seconds. 4. And it's really about arching your back so you can strengthen your abs and your spine erectors too, because those get a lot of work these days from all the sitting we're doing. So in and out. I believe that's 5. So we'll do 5 more. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. We're going to do the last one here. Hold for a couple seconds. Slowly breathe out and arch your back. Perfect. Alrighty, so for this next one, we're going to be, you can do this lying down on a bed, anywhere you can just really get flat. And this one is the hamstring slash low back stretch. So it's really going to work the back of your legs, and it's going to help out with your low back as well. So this one, we're just going to be sure you guys can see me here. I'll just do it on this. So this one, normally you want your legs flat out, but if you have them kind of hanging off this like I do, just because I do have a bit of a tight space today, that's fine too. So I'm just gonna have my legs dangling down. Normally you'd have them flat out though. You just don't want your knees up at all. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lie down. Have both your legs flat, bring one knee up, and you're just gonna hug the knee. And you're really going to feel this in the back of your leg here. And you might feel it a bit in your lower back. So we're just going to hold it for about, again, 10 to 30 seconds. And if there are any questions, please, I'll be happy to answer them at the end. So we're going to hold it for about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. And then I'm just going to blindly maneuver my legs here. And you guys can switch out your legs. And we're just going to hold it. Bring it up for a couple seconds. Just that. My phone's jabbing me in my pocket. So normally you want to have your pockets empty. So just hold it for about 5 to 10 more seconds. And again, if you're feeling too much tension, then you don't want to keep going any further. You don't want to bounce that point of tension. You just want to meet the tension, hold it for a couple seconds, and then slowly let go. So we can end that one there. And then we are on to our final set of stretches here. So these ones are going to stretch out the pecs, which are great. So you got to do it from a couple different angles. You can do this one in a doorway is normally best, but again, I am a little tight for space here. So I'm just going to be using the top of our fire here. So we're going to start first. You grab low on the door, and you're going to turn and face out, and you're going to feel a bit of a pull across the bottom of your pec here. So you're just going to pull. If you don't feel too much of a pull, that's fine. This one, the pec is pretty tough to stretch out, but just even doing this and not feeling like a huge amount of tightness, that's okay. It's still getting a stretch even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it. So again, so we've held this for about 10 seconds by now. So then you're gonna hold it. You want it about at shoulder height. So it's out pretty much completely horizontal. And then we're just gonna turn again. And you should feel the pull now a little higher across the pec, a bit towards the middle of the pec. Hold this one for about 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, perfect. And then we're gonna go to the last part of the stretch, which is you're gonna reach up a little bit. And then we're gonna turn. And then this one, you should feel the pull right across the top of the pec here. And you'll feel it coming down a bit. This one's normally, for me, the tightest. It might be different for other people. But you just gotta hold it like this. There we're good. And then we'll switch arms here. So we'll start off again with the low one. You're gonna grab this, turn out. So it's almost like you're facing away. Again, if you're feeling way too much tension, don't push through it. You want to just kind of hold it at that point of tension. So you might want to let off a bit. So we'll hold this low one for about 10 seconds. And then we're just gonna go, if there's somewhere, no, there's not. Then we're gonna get low. Remember, exactly shoulder height. And we're gonna turn away. And then this one, you'll feel a little more towards the middle. right flat across the middle of the chest. Hold for about 10 to 30 seconds. Alrighty, and then for the last one, remember we reach up and we turn again, and you'll feel this one coming across the top, almost like forming a straight line from the shoulder to the sternum. You'll feel this one. So go, keep stretching for about, we'll say 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect, and that's our stretches for today. There's just one last slide I got to cover here with everybody, but I'll send out this poll here. Alrighty, look, it looks like almost everyone's voted, so I'll leave this for a couple minutes, and then once I'm done these slides, I will send out the poll so you can see, but it looks like most people do at least a little bit of stretching throughout their week, which is really great. You really want to keep up with that. So just do this here. Alrighty, so again, just gonna cover this quick. Hold them for 10 to 30 seconds. You don't really get much benefit for holding them for longer. You wanna do a minimum 2 to 3 times a week. The more the merrier. You can never get enough stretching. But yeah, you don't really, that's a good amount. Good number to shoot for, 2 to 3 times a week of a good solid 10 minutes of stretching. That's all you really need. And again, if you are doing any other kind of physical activity, these are great to incorporate. You're less likely to injure yourself. And honestly, you'll just feel better. You'll be more successful with it. Overall, great. So just to wrap up, sometimes for extra stretching assistance, in the bottom left of your screen here, this woman is using something called a TheraBand. So if you just don't have that flexibility or there's some extra stretches that you want to try, the TheraBand is great. You can use it to pull on joints in a way that you normally couldn't. Like I wouldn't be able to reach my toes to pull on them, but this woman is using them to stretch out her hand or her calves, which is great. We do have them for sale at the clinic, and you can get different resistance strengths. You can get different sizes. So the price will vary on that, but they are available at the clinic, and they are a bit of a hot commodity right now. So they might be a bit difficult to find elsewhere, but I'm pretty sure we've got a couple kicking around the clinic that are for sale. As I mentioned, our webinar for last week is up on YouTube already, and I'm sure this one will be up within a couple days, provided that everything downloads okay. There's a couple other things. Oh, we do offer 15-minute free consultations if you guys have any questions that need to be answered, not through a Q&A right now. We offer free 15-minute phone consultations with the chiropractors. I believe the physiotherapist does it as well. I'm not sure, there might be a couple others, other folks at the practice who do it as well. I'm not 100% sure right now, but I know I can guarantee that the physiotherapists and the chiropractors do the free 15-minute consultations. So as for next week we're going to be focusing on body weight exercises. So these are stuff that you need virtually no equipment for. They're really great. Again, you can do them just in your office. You just have to take a step away from your desk most of the time, and you can just do them right there. They're really great. So I believe that's everything. If there's any questions, I'll be kicking around for another couple minutes to answer any Q&As or anything in the chat. And I'm just going to share that poll real quick for you guys, and we can call it there. There you go. You guys should be able to see the results of the poll there. So it looks like most of you stretch 3 to 5 times a week, or at least a couple times a week, which is great. You already got a head start on it. That's all I could ask for. Yeah, and honestly, it never really does you much harm to do as much stretching as you can. So keep it up. Alrighty, I'll just leave it for about 2 more minutes and then we're gonna call it there. But I'm not seeing any questions so far. Alrighty, I'm still not seeing any questions. So I think we can just call it there. Again, if you do have any questions, we have an email. I believe it's info@coreorthocare.com. So you can email that with any general inquiries. We have the 15-minute free consultations. So yeah, please check those out. And thanks for tuning in, guys.